Now, according to the authority, 13% of Kenyans between the ages of 15 to 65, roughly that is 4.7 million people in this country, consume alcohol, with the highest use recorded among the age between 18 to 24, so majority of the youth. The policy also introduces strict zoning regulation, establishing alcohol-free zones around schools, places of worship and residential areas. Other areas such as supermarkets as well cannot be provided, restaurants and online platform. Those are some of the regulations they made in July 2025. Now also under the rules, bar and liquor outlets are prohibited from operating within 300 meters from such sensitive areas that I've just mentioned. Now the cabinet approved the 2025 policy to guide and coordinate the growing burden of alcohol and drug abuse. Also, Nakada further revealed that at least 17.5% of the populace are using at least one drug. That includes alcohol, which is the highest in the country, followed by tobacco, khat or mera, whichever you like, as well as bang. And of course, as I told you earlier on, we do have the key stakeholders who are leading the fight against this particular drug and substance abuse. We do have the Nakada officials. Let me start with Christine Koshal. She is the Senior Programs Officer at Nakada. Christine, good morning and welcome. Also still at Nakada, and he wears many caps, also is a Reverend. He is Dr. Reverend Frederick Ngugi, a board member of Nakada. Reverend, karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Also, we do have Chief Inspector Daniel Siego. He is the Deputy in charge of the National Police Service K9 Academy. Welcome, Daniel.
Good morning. Welcome.
Other experts we do have on this particular set, as I told you today, is a house full. We do have Lawrence Mungai, a recovery coach. Lawrence, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, thank you.
And also doctor in the house, that is Dr. Margaret Kagwe. She is a teacher, psychologist, and a researcher. Dr. welcome.
Thank you so much.
And let me start with, first of all, with the National Police Service, given that Daniel is representing them here. In terms of fighting this particular menace, are we winning the war?
Yes, we are winning the war. The National Police Service is winning the war through the Inspector General of Police. The Inspector General of Police is deliberate on this war. We must say that it is a war because since the inception of this particular menace, or since the inception of this war, we have taken broad measures that we are using to combat this particular menace, including being strategically having strategic points that are detecting this particular menace, and also having the necessary apparatus and tools that will limit the supply and the reduction of this particular menace in our country. Yes,
Christine,
we are winning the war.
Okay. Christine, are we winning the war?
Yes, of course, and thank you for having us today. We are winning the war in the line that my friend and colleague has just said, that as Nakada, we are a multi-sectoral leading team. We lead a multi-sectoral stakeholders and engagement in terms of making sure that whatever we are advocating for are yielding results, which I'm sure we are here today to discuss that. Yes, we are winning the war.
Lawrence, your opening remarks on this, as well as a recovery coach. In your view, do you think Nakada and the National Police Service have done enough?
I would say for the first time I'm confident that we are headed in the right direction.
Reverend?
Yes, we are winning the war, and especially because Kenyans have realized this war cannot be won by one person or one agency. Long time they used to think that Nakada can only win the war alone. But now we have even an approach of community-based rehabilitation program, where we are involving everyone, every stakeholder, including policemen, including chiefs, that is GAO, parents, recovery coaches, everybody in the community. We have combined effort and we are fighting, and we are going to win. Yes.
Dr.
Yeah, I really appreciate what Nakada is doing, but I also feel that we have more responsibility, especially at family level, and to educate people on drugs and substance use. For me, I feel if people are convinced of the dangers, they are able to stop without being forced. So I feel like we need to educate more and also discuss, make it an open discussion, especially with the youth, so that they can understand what the war is about. Sometimes they take the war is a war against them, not about drugs. So I feel like we need also to vary a bit in ways of educating, so that people can begin to stop by themselves, and they can also join the efforts. Yeah, but I appreciate what they are doing. Yes.
Daniel, as you also respond to some of the comments that have been made by our very guest here, in terms of the National Police Service addressing this particular issue, what are some of the challenges you go through as policemen in addressing these concerns?
Challenges is lack of awareness. Sometimes we face lack of awareness within the society. As my friend has said, this war that is a unified kind of approach that needs every person to take responsibility. The society is not aware about the drugs. And also, we need also to be aware of what is happening in the locality. We must also be informed. So it means that every person has a responsibility. So the main challenge that we are facing is lack of awareness by the individual citizens, whom we think if this awareness is put across by the available agencies that are working, fighting this menace, will be at ease. And also even failure to report by the citizens. Citizens are not reporting these crimes as they are happening. Later, they just they are exposed, and that is the time they come in and started complaining. But if they can report before this menace become a problem or it escalate, it means that we can cure this menace and also prevent it before it is happening. The intelligence still is not coming forth as it should come because of lack of awareness by these members. They are not that free, but we encourage them to be free and communicate with the National Police Service so that we can fight this crime together as a team. So we need that collective responsibility of reporting and being aware. Thank you.
Christine, given that these are some of your statistics that you launched in July, even early in January, tell us more about the statistics and what you are able to find. Should we as a country be worried?
Thank you again. Yes, it should worry us as a country. You have just read the statistics yourself. And I like the fact that my colleague here has said that creation of awareness and the intelligent-led sort of a thing will help in so many things. And I want just to begin by saying that NACADA does not work from the blues. As in today, we can tell you that it is 1, 2, 3. Most of our programs are evidence-based. We do a lot of research in this country that informs what we are going to give or create awareness or educate the public about. Just as you had mentioned about our research, as a parent, and I'm sure Dr. will allude to this, that if we say that 46% of our university students are in drugs and substance abuse of any nature. And as any parents, you have the reason to worry about, because 46 is such a big percent that gives a lot of worries when it comes to our youth. So part of, as I said earlier, NACADA really works and is informed by data. And the kind of data that we're giving to this nation is informing even our programs, both to the stakeholders who, and I know you know that NACADA works very well with its stakeholders. Starting away from our religious leaders, our parents, our education institutions, our Ngao team, as our director has just said, we work closely with so many stakeholders, because I want you to understand that NACADA can never and will never win this war alone. This war has to be all of us, including even the media and the media fraternity, which NACADA has also invested in it by even coming to these stations and making sure that the public are aware. What our Ngao team has just said is we want to create awareness. Even when we launched that policy, we went around creating awareness to every sort of institution, even including the public barazas. I know you know that we are so much engaged with the Jukwaa la Usalama, that really gives us an opportunity and gives us a platform to engage with the Ngao team, and down from what our director has just said to our local chief and even to our village elders. What does that tell you? It tells you that NACADA is taking the war to the closer doorsteps of over all the stakeholders including even the village people who do not know. And I want to tell you for a fact that most of our students, if they come from the village to the universities, to the big cities, the kind of NACADA is so much engaged that it even during their orientation periods in the university, NACADA is always there to create awareness, because most of them do not know what they'll come and face when they come to the cities. So this war cannot be won alone, and there's an African proverb that says, if we train the youth well, we will not have to fix broken adults. And NACADA has invested so much on the youth in terms of public education and awareness, in terms of rehabilitation center, as our colleague has just said here. So I think we are in the right trajectory as NACADA, and we want to appreciate our stakeholders. And going further, even the policy that we've just launched, we are still launching in all our universities, all our institutions, private and public, to be able to give the communities the first-hand information of what the data is speaking about. Thank you.
And Lawrence, given that luckily we have you as a recovery coach here, tell us, what is your experience, given that you interact with most of these cases and persons at the end of the day? Tell us, what has your experience been in dealing with people who abuse drugs and substance?
One of the biggest challenges that we have been having is a lack of treatment, or rather, not very many families can be able to get treatment from the facilities due to the cost barriers. But we thank God because of what Dr. has said regarding the community-based rehabilitation programs, which has really, like, for example, in my community, has really seen very many people being able to come, form groups, like in churches, like in social halls, and they get to know and to learn more about the drugs. So that's one of the challenges that we could be having in our communities, not knowing where to get the treatment, and if we do, can we be able to afford to get those treatments. So I thank God also for the Jukwaa la Usalama, like for example, the recently in Kiambu County, whereby we raised an issue if we can be able to get more rehabilitation centers in each and every county. Like for example, as we stand, we only have got 2 rehabilitation centers owned by the government in Nyeri and in Mombasa. So what about the other counties? Can each and every household be able to manage to take their loved ones into those facilities? Another thing that has been mentioned, and I feel this is the right time to talk about it, is a collaboration between the police, the NPS, and maybe people giving information of what is happening on the ground. But we could be having the challenges, maybe as parents or also as the community leaders, on who are we going to trust when you're giving out this information. If I come to Mr. Daniel and maybe I'm saying on somebody who maybe operates in my community, how safe am I after delivering that message or that intel to the NPS? How safe am I going to be? So that also I can really say it has also been a challenge, that maybe you might have the intelligence on who and where the stuff is happening, but you don't know who you are supposed to trust and give the information to.
And luckily we do have a religious leader here in our midst. Maybe, Reverend, you could tell us,
Yes.
in terms of the morality of our society,
Yes.
is it decaying?
Well, I cannot say that it is really decaying, but I would want to put a better word, lack of awareness. Because when it comes to supply suppression, what we are doing today with the Jukwaa la Usalama, and also what we have been doing before, when we do raid and we get people who are doing the business of substance abuse, people only see those activities happening, but little do they know that even your child there can get involved in such kind of drugs. even those children are not really aware the extent of harm it can get on them. So awareness is what needs to be done much more, not only by government, but even by parent, because parent is the first teacher of a child. So if I say that there is moral decay, I would be accusing people who would be doing better if they are having awareness. Again, when it comes to prevention, the most effective way of prevention of drug is when you begin training your child right from the one. Then as they grow on, you begin now involving a larger society. You know who is working with your child. On and on we go to primary school, secondary school, and we create an awareness all through so that the child is trained about drug abuse right from the day they are at home. Then when they go to primary school, all the way to secondary schools, and even in the universities, because the initiation stage of a child to tobacco, for example, is 6 years. As early as 6 years, our children are being introduced into tobacco. And most children, most parents are not even aware. Most of even teachers in school, maybe started, a 6-year child, of course, is perhaps even in primary school, standard 1. They are not aware. They would not even imagine. Then the initiation stage of alcohol is the age of 7 years. You have seen them. Even others, praying like, behaving as if they are drunk out there in the street, because they have copied the mature people what they do. Then at the age of 9 years, other children are being introduced into bangi, cannabis sativa. Parents are not aware. Society is not aware. Teachers are not aware. Sometimes they even carry bangi in their book bags. And a few rock guys have now have a tendency of using these little children to transport the bangi, either to workers in the school or to the neighborhood. Why? Because you cannot suspect. And I would want to speak to a parent there who is watching today. Be very careful. What your child, either a girl or a boy, is carrying, in the evening look at that bag. In the morning look at that bag. Also try to do some investigation. Some behaviors keep on changing, especially when they are using bangi. At the age of the same age, 9 years, that's when they begin getting introduced into nut or miraa. Yes, they say miraa is a cash crop, but it's very, very harmful because it has caffeine and cadmium, which is very harmful to the brain. The other day, I was having a boy who began consuming miraa at the age of 14. By the time he is 21 years, the gentleman's eyes was almost gouging out. He was helpless. By the time we were taking him to rehab, this man was even using diapers. He was even being fed food like a child. Yet he started at a very early age. Then at the age of 18 years to 20 years, that is when a child is introduced into hard drug, heroin and cocaine. Parents do not know. The other day I had a case of a parent who had a boy. He's gone to the university in the second year, but he is completely addicted. He's even fighting the mother. She called me. This boy is getting mad. So we had to look for a way to help. But he began many years ago, and they were not aware. So I am saying it is important that parents keep on watching, monitoring their children. Teachers there in school monitor these children. Then the society at large, monitor these children. The students themselves, or youth out there, you need to be aware also that the moment you begin like fun, but the moment it gets on you, you get addicted. Coming out of addiction is so difficult. We have boys, girls and boys dying in the street. Hashim, what is happening? This war, the way you see us escalating it, is because people are really dying. And I can tell you the addiction rate is getting very harmful. 1 out of 45 youth aged between 15 years and 24 are addicted to tobacco as we are speaking now. Actually, alcohol. 1 out of 45 completely addicted. That is to mean that they are dependent. 1 out of 167 youth aged between 15 years, 24 years are addicted to tobacco completely. Yeah? 1 out of 125 youth aged between, again, 14 years, 15 years to 24 are also addicted to cannabis sativa. Addicted to the extent that they are completely dependent. They cannot do anything without smoking it. Then 1 out of 77 youth in the same age bracket are addicted to mogoka and mira.
Okay.
Yes.
Given that, Daktari, you've heard what Reverend is talking about, behavioral tendencies, and what could be the other underlying issues that is pushing majority of our youths to this issue?
Okay. Number one, at that age, that's the age of experimentation. They experiment a lot. And when a person is ushered into adulthood, sometimes there is no clear instructions on what it is that an adult is supposed to do. And so for me, I feel like the gap is coming in with parenting, because when a parent feels like there is a war with the emerging adult when it comes to autonomy, when it comes to what they want to do, I feel like now that's where the parents need to get the power to be able to know how to let go but continue guiding the child. For me, I feel like if we empower the parent to understand even the physiology of addiction, because sometimes I've seen parents come to me and they are very frustrated with their child and they feel like all you need to do is to stop. But do they understand what addiction means? That it's not as easy as I'm stopping. They need to be supported. They need to be helped to cleanse their system so that now they can be able to deal with the withdrawal. So I feel like there is lack of enough education on what is addiction really. And when a person is addicted, what does that mean? What support can they be given to be able to come out of it? So for me, I feel it has become something like when you become addicted, you are either a rebel, a criminal, you are acting, you are doing all those kind of things. And I feel once a person is addicted, they need help. They are simply, for me, a patient. And they need understanding an environment where they can be able to thrive and come out of it. The other thing I feel also is that we need to put the substance use and addiction in our education system. For me, I believe that the education system is very powerful. And if children are being introduced at the age of 6, it means that this world needs to go down to primary. What are we doing in primary school? What are the teachers doing? What is the curriculum addressing? So that if we begin addressing it from there in a very simple way, then it means as a child grows, they have some information, they have some power, they have some knowledge, so that when they hear or they see somebody intoxicated, they understand what is going on. Because I feel that when a person is addicted, they begin to withdraw because they begin to feel judged. So that is where we lose them. And I also feel like those who are not addicted can become ambassadors. Instead of looking down at them, they can be trying to lift them. At our universities, I'm sure there must be people who would be willing to take that role. So I feel we cannot afford to ignore. And I feel when a person is addicted, for me that is a patient, that's not a criminal. Because when you are born sober. The moment you take something, you are no longer the same person. So for me, I feel we need to start helping these people. And now, like when a person is addicted, this is not a criminal, this is a patient. And those people who have not been addicted, we can support them. We can understand what are the underlying issues. Is it unemployment? So that we begin now taking care of the underlying issues. Because if we keep looking at what the symptoms, we might miss what is really going on. So I feel like as a psychologist, I usually go down to the underlying. I check the family environment. I check whether it is work environment. I check whether it is the social environment. And that way you're able to help a person to see what they can do differently. So I feel we need also to look at the approach. Rather than make it all look like NACADA is after you with a policeman, we need to look at them like, come, we reason together. Even the people who are addicted, come, we reason together. Let's see what is possible. For me, I feel like there's hope there. And I'm not saying that we should not criminalize, especially those people exposing our children, but I think also we need to diversify the approach and put it in our education system. If it is that bad, then it means it needs to be addressed through the system. Yeah.
And maybe let me toss it off now to Daniel. Given that the National Police Service, you have made a lot of busts. Every week we see the National Police Service through their various commandants and officers arresting or rather seizing Chang'aa, the banks, the everything. So in terms of what Lawrence was talking about, because majorly of this bust, you rely on the public for information. So in order to boost the trust between you and the public, how would you approach that?
Thank you, Aden. First, I would want to say that National Police Service have specific numbers, those hotline numbers, where you can report, and then, of course, the action is taken. These are anonymous calls where they consider the confidentialities of this message that we are giving out. The numbers like Fichua number, which is available to the DCI, that is 0800 722 203. This is a number that is operating.
Kindly repeat that number.
0800 72 2203. This is a number that is available to report any crime that you come across within our country. That is 24-hour number that is operating. And then, of course, it considers the aspect of confidentiality. You cannot be exposed. So the cases that we are reporting from the citizen, they are being handled with professional conduct. That is, we exercise professionalism in terms of handling the cases that are reported to our members. We have also other police lines that they can make their report. That is police numbers like 112 or 09 or 9999. That is 999. Then we have 911. Those are specific numbers that are designed to help the members of the public to relay their information to the police. And then, of course, they are handled with great and utmost confidentiality. So, my friend here, don't worry, the police are taking care of that with those special numbers, and also we have an online website where we can also give out information to the police. So the risk of the information being exposed is not there within the National Police Service.
And let me toss it now, of course, to Christine. Christine, given that you had launched this particular policy in July for raising the drinking age from 18 to 21, and you clearly stated that 46% of university students abuse these drugs. So in terms of the effectiveness of this particular policy, do you think it will be that effective?
Of course, yes. Because as I mentioned earlier, we work so much, we are so much informed by data. And I know that data gives us numbers. And the reason I'm saying that is we just want to strengthen what we have been having before. Number one is that NACADA has really invested in prevention. And as they say, prevention is better than cure. And prevention can be, curing is very expensive, but prevention can help seal the loophole. In terms of prevention, where NACADA rolled out a program in our public education and advocacy campaigns. And these campaigns cascade right down to our institutions. And through it, we were able to come out with age-appropriate books that are being used by all our learners or our teachers. We also have at the same level the teacher's guide when it comes to alcohol and drug use among our students. Right away from the age our Reverend is speaking about, we have age-appropriate books right away from 6 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to, and all through up to the 18th year of life. So through those, and we were also with the Ministry of Education, we collaborated and come up with a handbook called National School Guidelines. The National School Guidelines help even the students and all the teachers, because we know that, as Reverend was saying, our teachers and our education systems are like parents. They interact with our children on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes even at this level, they have more time with our children more than we do at home. So NACADA invested so much in training. And again, we rolled out, and up to now we have sensitized close to 10 million parents in Kenya as we speak. Through a program called Positive Parenting. Positive parenting entails giving parents the hints on how to identify, how to probably talk with the children, as Dr. was saying, if you discover that there is something fishy with your child that has not been identified in school. The program on positive parenting gives details of how you're going to handle right away from your discovery age, that I have discovered that my child is exhibiting 1, 2, 3, to the way that you're going to handle him even post. One thing with NACADA is, and as my colleague was saying, we have an hotline that is 1192. It is free. And people are able to give information, and people are able to talk even through that line. And the fact that NACADA sometimes, when we come to the recovery coaches and people who have been in drug abuse and people who have been addicted, they speak to us. And the fact that they are given the opportunity to talk freely and being non-judgmental and just being empathetical and just giving them a listening ear other than judging them, as Dr. was saying, and giving them the pros and cons of what they have found themselves into. And sometimes the success rate is unimaginable. So through the program of positive parenting, we have been able to cascade down whatever we are talking about with the policy to the ground level. Another thing is we've engaged the youth through their associations. And it has been proven that the youth that engage in themselves, we have a program called Strategic Leadership that our CEO just did the other time with the leadership of the youth in this country. And statistics have showed that the youth who engage themselves in those leadership kind of program are 60% less be able to get into the use of drugs. And 40% of them are able even to interact with their peers, and three times better than they can be able to be even ambassadors to their community. As NACADA, we believe the input, because it's not only a priority, shielding the youth from the effects of drug use in this country and abuse is not a priority. It's not only a priority of NACADA, but a national duty for us. So through those programs, we have been able to maybe identify, and right now I'm just pinpointing a point that whatever the policy we rolled out, we are having programs to be able to disseminate the right information to the public and to be able to gain the support of our stakeholders, the educators, the religious community, the faith-based organizations, our parents in that scenario, so that all of us, as we say and will continue to say, this war is not about NACADA alone. This war has a pinch on me, has a pinch on him, has a pinch on everyone in this society. And we cannot be able to afford and sit, relax, and see our youth, 46% of them engage in drugs. Another great pillar of ours is awareness. And I continue to mention again that the Jukwaa la Usalama is a roller coaster for us. It has given us a platform. And it's worth noting that the leadership of NACADA has cascaded down to different counties in this country, meaning that whatever we are saying, we are not at par there, but we are down to the communities in different counties. Like myself, I come from Narok County. We have offices in Nakuru. In all the 47 counties, we are having programs of even prevention. We have also trained most of our stakeholders and those people that work in our rehabilitation center. Now, NACADA has capacity built all of these stakeholders to be able to handle. Because as Dr. said, the magic that works behind addiction is acceptance. You accept. Yes, it has happened. And even our religious institution will attest to that. For people to maybe come to Christ, there has to be a show of love. So even these people who are in drug use or drug abuse need some sort of love. So NACADA has rolled up a program also to train those people who handles people with drug abuse. Is you just don't wake up from the blue and say, oh, I'm going to sensitize, oh, I'm going to do what. Those people are through NACADA programs that are even available in our website. We've done a lot of training and sensitization for them to handle so that they do not do more harm, but they will be able to be therapeutic to the people that are in use.
And let me toss it now to Lawrence. Lawrence, given that you clearly stated that there are few rehabilitation centers across the country, you mentioned Nyeri and Mombasa, if I'm not wrong?
Government sponsored.
Yeah, do we have here in Nairobi? We do not have one. Then it means the road to recovery. Is there hope then?
There is hope, especially because of the community-based rehabilitation programs that have really seen very many families come to get help, and also the awareness, as it has been categorically said. Personally, I'm a beneficiary of both the community-based rehabilitation for my recovery, and also NACADA, the trainings by NACADA as a recovery coach. So by so doing, it has really helped us, even though as she has said, to go down back to our communities with enough equipped knowledge. We've got also other parties in the country, like I have to say it here, like ISAP, for example. It also enables us to have the courses that helps us to know what exactly are we delivering to the community down there. So there is hope for recovery, but also Dr. said a very important statement about addiction being as a disease. If we can only be able to let our family and our loved ones and significant others understand what is addiction as a disease, because many a times we are being judged. And the more you judge us, as she said, the more we create that barrier and a wall. Because for you, you just see me as a mlevi, in quotes. So as much as I really want to come and bond with my loved ones, with my peers, the only thing you can be able to do is to compare me with my siblings and maybe the people that I used to school with. So instead of bringing us together to seek recovery, we happen to repel. And I don't know whether you have ever noted, if somebody, depending on the substance of choice, if you take cannabis, most of your friends around you, they are going also to be those who are using cannabis and not those who are using alcohol. So if the family members, through the positive parenting, they can be able to understand addiction as a disease, it will really go a long way to be helping those who are affected and also infected, as well to open a platform for us to come clean and out and say, hey, I'm suffering from this disease. But the more you keep on castigating me and telling me how failure I am in life, being in addiction, the more, and we always say, misery loves company. So the only people that I'm going to refer as my friends are those who I am using and abusing with. So there is hope for recovery. If we are going to sensitize addiction as a disease, it is going to remove the barriers that has been there.
And Reverend, earlier on
Yes.
you alluded to that many people are calling you because you see many of the parents and community leaders reach out to the church even before the National Police Service and
Yes.
other institutions because they trust the men in cloth and women in cloth.
Yes.
So in terms of approach, should you change your approach in terms of dealing with this particular issue, because most of them will report to you and at the end of the day, even despite going to the rehabilitation center, you'll be the first stop. In terms of approach to this particular young men and women, how would you do?
That's a very good question, Hazim. And I can tell you, courage of this country, and especially the one I read APEC, Association of Pentecostal and Evangelical Clergy of Kenya, which is structured from national level all the way down to the grassroots. Clergy, just like Lawrence have said, have realized that there is need to show up to the ones that are already addicted. Because we have so many of them, 3.7 million youth of our country are already in addiction. And there are not enough rehabs to take all these people. And even if they were, most of them are private and they charge money that perhaps cannot be afforded by every family. So what does we do as clergy of this country, including even Sheikh and imams? We include everybody, even heroes, everyone. We mobilize them to show love to the addicted, to make sure that they know that addiction is already a disease. Why do we call it a disease? Because if you see someone who is even selling their own clothes, they are stealing away from their parent and selling to buy drugs. They behave like, not a normal way. That person is already sick. And I'm telling you, addiction is a very, very, very serious disease. Just like the way you fight a sick person in ICU. That is how they should be treated. The way you show love to a person who is sick there in the family, you even cook good food and you take care, and even those that are animated, you take them, you bring to them good fruits. This is the way, this is the approach, this is the way addicted people should be treated. You show love, and that's what we are doing as clergy of this country. We call them from the street. We bring them. Yes, they are thinking aloud because some don't even wash. And then clergy take them through counseling, preach to them, give them some food, give them some water, some drinks. They tell them they are good people, they can make it. And I can tell you, I've seen cases where, like in Githongori, there are others that were told that they are good people and they can make it. They were crying tears. And then the Bishop Kimani of Githongori asked them, why are you crying? We are crying because we have always been told, even at home, that we are not human beings. We are told to behave like humans. So we wonder whether or not we are human beings. Sometimes we are thrown away from homes. We sleep in the garden. When you get near to the neighbors, they cannot allow you even get near their compound. And sometimes you want even to have some water in the tap. So you find some of them dying in the street because of dehydration. They cannot access water. They take days without food because they have been thrown out of their families. So what we did as clergy, we mobilized clergy throughout the country to take care of these people. They began calling them to churches. They feed them. They talk to them. We invite recovery coaches. These people are very important. Those people have been in addiction, then they have recovered. Because through community rehabilitation program, we have thousands and thousands of youth that have recovered. And in Nakanda, they are trained as recovery coaches, how to handle their peers, how to handle the addict, the language they need to speak to them, to speak to. Therefore, when they speak to them, the clergy comes there, also show them love, they speak the word of God to them, they pray for them. We find so many of them coming out of addiction. Because you cannot win an enemy. You can only win a friend. Show them friendship. Show them love. By the way, I've witnessed almost 100% of those that have recovered throughout the country. Kuba, they are very good people, very useful. Others today are in other countries, have gone to seek job in other countries. Others have become a pillar in their families. Others have reconciled back to their spouses. Others have reconciled back to their families. Others have come from very wealthy families. They have been taken back to families and they are doing something productive.
Okay.
So what would I want to say here? There is hope, even in those that are addicted. Society out there, let us begin looking at these people as sick people. Let us show them love. Let us give them hope. Even those people that are completely mentally sick, you find them collecting papers on the street. By the way, these are also our members of our family.
Mm-hmm.
You find them being laid down in the day. They sleep they sleep out there. They don't have food, and some others can even be treated. And Kenyans out there, let me tell you, every level 5 hospital in this country is a mental health facility.
Okay.
Take those people, even if it's a neighbor, take them to the hospital. They would rather die in the hospital than die in the street. It is a curse to allow somebody, a human being, to die of starvation, to die of sickness, to die in a problem which would have prevented. So, in a nutshell, I can say the clergy of this country, religious leaders are doing a very, very good work. NACADA is really helping because it has trained so many recovery coaches, and we are continuing because we are in the business of prevention. We are in the business of control, in the business of management.
Okay.
Supply, suppression, and demand reduction. And that we must do.
Okay. And let me toss it to Daktari now. Daktari, given that you clearly stated that these are teenagers, they're in the rebellious era, when it comes to dealing with this in the face of stigmatization and peer pressure, what will the approach be? And is there hope that they will stop?
Yeah, I believe, number one, there is hope because with maturity also comes understanding. At this particular time, when they are rebelling, it is because they are just beginning to be able to think in the abstract. They can be able to question some of the things they've been told by their parents, and they can begin to start wanting to act for themselves and represent themselves. They keep choosing they want to choose their friends, they want to choose what to do and how to use their spare time. So with maturity, there is also change. But if we don't navigate it properly, if we don't support them properly, if we don't create the right environment, then majority or many of them will fall off and they will end up now struggling to recover their footing because when it comes to the adolescent stage, it's a very delicate stage. So for me, I feel, number one, the family system, the family unit is a very powerful tool. And why do I say this? Because majority of the people who are addicted go back to saying, this is what was happening to me, and I felt I'm not supported, and I ended up falling into addiction. So I'm feeling like we need to empower the family system. And I do not want us to dig just the hole we are going to plant. Let us dig wide. And what am I saying? Let's educate on mental health literacy. Rather than just focus on addiction and substance, how about educating people on how to create therapeutic spaces in homes? How about empowering people so that they can create therapeutic spaces at work? Even as we are addressing the issue of home and school, how about workspaces? Do we have policies on how to support people who are addicted or struggling with addiction or even struggling with alcohol? How do we party when we are celebrating something in business, in organizations? Majority of the times, alcohol is on the table. Even a person who is trying to get away from alcohol gets tempted, and it is validated, and nobody is telling them you are struggling, so we could offer you something alternative. So for me, I feel also we need to also evaluate the way we celebrate things. We need to ask ourselves, do I have to celebrate when I can't even tell who came? Because the moment you are intoxicated, you don't even know what happiness was like. You fall down. Some people soil themselves. Some people vomit. And when I look at that, I'm like, if that is happiness, I don't want it. I want to be sober when I'm being happy. I think we need also to educate the society on how to choose ways to be happy and how to ensure that in your happiness, you're also sober and you're also like benefiting and acknowledging the happiness. So the other thing I also think is when it comes to when they are addicted and they are being supported, when it comes to relapse prevention. Again, when they come back and they are here, we usually look at them waiting 1 week. You know, we are waiting for them to relapse. So for me, I'm like, how can we educate and create an environment where this person can see that there is a change? If the things that were predisposing them to addiction have been addressed, then the environment can be created so that this person will come and feel support, and they can come and feel like even the people who are near, parents, relatives, and even the community is supporting my recovery, and they are happy for my recovery. Again, we need to remember, when an addict is being rehabilitated, the other addicts are losing, they are mourning. And one of the things they do is to wait for this person back, and they are like, come back, we are going to celebrate with a beer. So what does that mean? Again, we lose that person back, and all the resources that have been used seem to like they have not gotten anywhere. So for me, I feel that we need to also widen the approach, like we need to give tools and skills for mental health, self-help, and also to help the other people. How do you recognize that your child is struggling without them telling you? Because a mental health struggle is a silent struggle. Nobody says, how are you? Nobody says, I'm not fine. Everybody is accustomed to saying, I am fine, even those who are not fine. So for me, I feel we need to teach deeper skills, like how can you recognize I'm fine, that is not real, so that you can tell that person, can we have a conversation? And that's where you can tell them, as much as you're saying I'm fine, I feel like you are not fine. Could you please share if you are ready? And just know that I want to be here for you. I feel our society is living in like the ideal, but we are not acknowledging the real. Even parents, you'll see a parent who is saying, my child is okay, and that time the child is struggling. We need to acknowledge change, and we need to start acknowledging it and asking, what can we do? Who can help? Who is in this area can be able to help, including who are the professionals. Even if they don't have money, come to Margaret. I would rather even now refer you to another person if I'm not able to do pro bono in that moment. For me, I'm a believer in I don't get defeated. I will continue knocking doors until my problem is solved. I feel like if you have a child who is addicted, keep knocking doors. Even go to your governor, go to your chief, go to every person and say, me, I'm not going, I don't know how to fight this. For me, I feel like we need to be bold enough to be able to rescue our children. And we need also to listen to them. I feel also the other part we lose is when an adolescent is becoming an adult, that is now the age of turmoil. If you don't listen to them, they don't listen to you. So whatever you tell them, they block. But when you listen to them, they are likely to listen to you. So I think also we need to vary the way we communicate with them. Yeah.
And before we take a short commercial break, I want to toss it to Daniel. Given that we can see also the criminals are fighting back at the end of the day, and I can see some even questions that are trickling in from our viewers outside. They're asking, when you dispose of the changa, the illicit brews and other illicit goods, is there a possible way of disposing it better? Because normally you just throw it on the ground, unaimwaga hapo chini. Don't you think you're polluting the environment? You can respond to that, but first respond to how the criminals are fighting back in the fight against drugs.
First, I will start by saying ours is to cut the supply. Among the three pillars that are there in terms of fighting this menace, we have demand reduction, we have supply reduction, and also we have what we call, but ours we majorly focus on supply reduction. Why are we focusing on supply reduction? We want to eliminate this particular menace before it reaches the common citizen. So we are preventing this particular drugs, narcotic substance, marijuana, alcoholism to reach the citizen of this country. So specifically, the National Police Service, through the Inspector General of Police, is fighting this war, assembling a very strong team that will fight this menace. And in terms of the tools that we are using a narcotics unit as a tool to fight this menace. We are also using police dogs in terms of fighting this menace. So, being a war, as it was stated by the President of the United States, that is Richard Nixon, in 1871, he said that fighting drugs is a war. So it means and it requires that belligerent approach. That is a combined effort. You must assemble your arsenals. So as police, we have assembled our arsenal. And in terms of these criminals who are fighting backs, we are using intelligence also to get hold of them. Because we want to disrupt the whole trafficking department or the group that is organized crime groups. Because it does not stop with only having the drugs within our country. These particular gangs, they are also committing other crimes which are related to drug. Because they must also get some financial support. So they are carrying other criminal activities that include money laundering, terrorism. So this is a whole system that is being followed closely by those agencies that are available within the National Police Service. So the Inspector General has those specific entities that are fighting against. And I want to assure the citizen that we are much far ahead of them in terms of how we fight them. So in terms of, you're asking about the disposal. The disposal of this kind of illicit drugs is determined by the court. In the time of the closure of the course or the case, the court pronounced itself on our way to dispose these particular drugs and narcotic psychotropic substance.
And Daniel, given that the question was in terms of how you're disposing it, you know, munaimwaga chini, you're polluting the environment because these are toxins at the end of the day. So I guess what the viewer was asking, is there a better way of disposing them aside from pouring it on the ground?
Yeah, we can take them to those designated areas that are supposed to be used for disposal of such drugs to prevent the destruction of environment.
And maybe the officers who are disposing it, are they educated to do that?
Yeah, at every station level, we have competent officers. The in charge of the station is a competent officer. He has undergone several training that enables them to work professionally and also to work within the standards that are required, considering the other existing law, like the issues of environmental health. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. There you have it. The National Police Service at least is a little bit awake when it comes to the environment as well, given that this particular government is focused on climate change and the hazardous effects that it has had on our various renewable energy sector. We're taking a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll still continue with this particular conversation. Also, we're keeping an eye on the Interior Cabinet Secretary, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, who is continuing with his Jukwaa la Usalama, being reliably informed that he'll be in Nyanza. As and when we get those particular details, we'll be sharing them with you. But let's take a breather. Keep your comments coming in. I'll be reading them and posing them to a very able panel, so don't go too far. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Our topic still remains the same, but we're still keeping an eye on various stories that are currently making headlines at this hour. Any moment from now, we'll be heading over to the Jukwaa la Usalama that is currently in Nyanza. Aside from that, President William Ruto is in Kilifi County for the Vipingo Special Economic Zone there, a collaboration between the Centum Investment and Arise. Of course, he is also talking about a 2,000-acre plug and play industrial park with a focus on green energy, which will boost a direct investment of $100 million, local FDI of $38 billion, and the projected employment of 50,000 direct jobs and 25,000 indirect jobs. Also, we're keeping a close eye on the Milimani Law Court's major development that our very own Ruth Wamboi is currently informing us on, is that a Milimani High Court has issued a warrant of arrest against a British national that murdered Kenyan woman Agnes Wanjiru Wanjiku at a hotel lodge in Nyanyuki, Lake Laikipia County back in 2012. Judge Alexander Muteti has slated the mention of the case on the 21st of October 2025 to confirm compliance. You do remember that particular case that was also being investigated by none other than the Security Committee of the National Assembly in conjunction with the National Police Service. Now let's head over to the Jukwaa la Usalama, where the Interior Cabinet Secretary, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, is currently attending. We'll listen in, given that it is in relation to what we're discussing here in our very own studios. Let's listen in.
And we appreciate the fact that we have this because it informs the economic activity, that the main economic activity here, which is fishing. And a lot of work has been done by the government of Kenya to invest in the fishing sector, landing bays, and various investments related to making this lake more viable in terms of as a transport also hub. And so the piers that has been built here and others that are being worked on, we appreciate the investment that the government is putting in the fishing sector. And but also there lies challenges that we have as a result of these economic activities. We need greater presence of the security team at the lake. So of great concern for us is the strength that we have in the Coast Guard plus the Border Patrol Unit. There is an ongoing procurement process for modernization, and we have agreed that we need more boats to man the lake. We appreciate also His Excellency's engagement with President Museveni on the joint management of the Lake Victoria. And from an East African perspective, that will resolve many other issues in terms of competition, the fighting over borders, and the issue of harassment of fisher folks. And that is an issue that we continue to follow. There has been a great improvement with the establishment of Coast Guard, but there is need to be greater presence. It's not enough to have Border Patrol Unit in Muru Bay. We also want to have a presence in Sena and other parts of the lake. This is a discussion that, we've already had in Busia. I'm sure it will come up tomorrow in Siaya and Kisumu later. The second issue is that because of also the porous border that we have, or porous border, properly unmanned, we have a lot of contraband that come to this county. And the challenge we have here is that some of the goods that are brought here are actually substandard unadulterated alcohol. We have also drugs, especially marijuana. And it is also an issue of great concern. We have agreed on a continuation of a joint operation. We have a very good working multi-agency team here that is dealing with the drug trafficking and proliferation of illicit alcohol. And we have agreed that this should be enhanced with a greater engagement with the community. The third issue that is of concern for us in Homa Bay is the issue of criminal gangs and goons. It's been of great concern in this county. I am very happy with the progress that has been made by the security team, a lot of which has reduced the number of cases related to criminal gangs. I'm happy with the cooperation of the members of public, young people who have been engaged and they have accepted to cooperate with the security team. We've said that there should be greater regulation of our border sector, and we are encouraging self-regulation. We want to see that the County Transport Committee is working, but we also want to see that the border sectors are organized around circles that can be accountable, and we want them to make sure that the leadership of borders in this county and across the country are being incorporated in sub-county security meetings for purpose of enhancing collaboration. And to deal with this goons issue also, we are happy to note that there is a great understanding among leadership in this area that it is important to have a peaceful environment for campaigning and political competition that is issue-based and that can respect the rights of all the other citizens. We have we are glad that the security team, where they have found gang members who are carrying machetes and clubs and other crude weapons, that they have been dealt with decisively, and the courts have, the DPP has taken the step to charge them in a court of law. Some have been convicted, some their cases are ongoing. We shall continue doing so. Law enforcement is extremely important in deterring those who would be interested in entering into this field. I'm happy also because of there are farming activities here, and there are many other economic activities, markets, and the government has invested heavily in this county in terms of roads, in terms of markets, in terms of revitalization of lake-related projects. And we need to just continue working together. There's a good, close working relationship between county and national government, and between the elected leaders and the national administration. And we are encouraging this to continue. Our objective is to ensure that Jukwaa la Usalama is not one-off meeting where the cabinet secretary comes to visit here, but it should also include and we want to institutionalize within the bottom-up economic transformation agenda as a mechanism of resolving cases that are bothering the people of this county. The last county and every part of the country. And therefore, Jukwaa la Usalama will be devolved or decentralized to the local level and will become part and parcel of our strategies of managing security issues across the country. The last thing I'd like to say is that like many other counties, like the rest of the counties in western part of the country and Nyanza, defilement remains a very serious issue. Even all the way to Bomet, defilement is a big issue. The prevalence of defilement cases here is also promoted by repugnant cultural practices, including the disco matanga, which has been banned in this area. Many of the children that are defiled are actually affected mostly during holidays. We will, during the Jukwaa itself, we will engage our chiefs and assistant chiefs to see how best we can engage community, particularly those who try to resolve these problems using alternative dispute resolution mechanism. These are high crimes. We do not want community to hide the perpetrators. Some of the reasons why they hide them is because they are relatives, and they are people who have a fiduciary responsibility to protect these young people, whether they are teachers, religious leaders, family members, and we want to make sure that the entire society is supporting the law enforcement agencies in dealing with cases of defilement and gender-based violence, which is also affecting many parts of our country. I think that is a fair summary of these issues. We are here with our two PSs. We have, of course, Dr. Raymond Omolo, who is the son of the soil, who comes from this county, and we are very happy to have him. And as a ministry, we are lucky to have him as part and parcel of our security architecture, and he's been doing a good job previously with His Excellency the Deputy President, and when I joined the ministry, we have had a very wonderful working relations, and we have also our PS for citizen services, immigration and citizen services, and the very reason why he's here is because this is a very important day. It is Global Identification Day. Is it called Identification Day? Yes, Identification Day. Yeah, and this is celebrated globally. And after this, we are going to go for a small session of 1 hour before we start our Jukwaa process to celebrate this National ID Day. There are so many people. It's estimated that over 1 million people in Kenya of adult age. And I'm not talking about those who have just turned 18, 19, 20. I'm saying people who are 30, 40, who have not taken ID. It's estimated that over 1 million people are just living within Kenya without ID. Therefore, they cannot be employed, they can't get share, they cannot vote. There are so many rights they don't exercise and the benefits they don't get from their own country because they don't have national ID. And it's important that we emphasize this fact and ask many Kenyans to work together to make sure that everybody gets their is identified so that they can get right services. the discussion we are going to have with chiefs and assistant chiefs, who are actually the chiefs are the ones who play a critical role in recommending persons for identification, is that this exercise, they must walk around all their locations to identifying these people and helping them access these services, including those who are vulnerable, like persons with disabilities. Some of them are just being hidden by family members and they are not recognized and identified, and they could have as easily benefited from the support that government extends to persons with disabilities. So, and I think that is all. That is enough for now, because we have a lot of content that will come from the next two forums. And but of course, I am happy to take questions, like three questions. Yeah, introduce yourself and media house.
My name is Eric Odeka for Radio Nigeria.
Okay.
You talked about security at the lake. There has been a public outcry over security harassment by the Kenya Coast Guard.
Yes.
Then number two, there has been an assault and attack publicly to particular members of the protest. A case yesterday, there was an attack from one of us who was assaulted and attacked. Maybe as a security.
Yeah. Let me start with the one for attacking journalists. It is the very problem we're dealing with of goons and gangs. And it was a very unfortunate situation that some of government officials have been implicated at the county level. We appreciate the fact that the governor has taken administrative action. And the other enforcement-related actions are ongoing. And as I said earlier, this kind of cooperation is really welcomed when the leaders are recognizing that gangs and goons are not useful for our security and for our development and also for our politics. And we will continue taking very firm action against this. This is not an isolated case for Homa Bay. It's happening across. In Kisii, for example, we were told that even the gangs had a particular place where they pick people and torture them. And so we will be taking very stern legal action, arresting these people and taking them to court. And we continue requesting for cooperation of our judiciary to make sure that they get severest punishment and the process, the trials are expedited so that people can get justice. On the question of beach, we continue having many challenges, by the way. The BMUs are really helping us. The beach management units are helping us in security operation and manning the lake and so forth. But we also have challenges because those are the areas where contrabands are being brought in, and including drugs. And therefore, what is called harassment sometimes is when the Coast Guards take very stern action. But and we need to improve that support. So maybe we need meetings between the fishermen and the law enforcement agencies along the lake, and we need understanding and cooperation from the beach management unit and members. But of course, where cases are very viable of unjustified use of force, where people are asking for bribes, or any illegalities committed by law enforcement agencies, we encourage members of public to report them, either to the IG or the higher command, or also to IPOA, because we have a responsibility. There is a civilian oversight insofar as the action or inaction on the part of the police. Two more, if there is any.
I have a question.
No.
My name is Ricky Fokech. I work with KBC. A while back, just about a long time, Nakada proposed a wide route of measures to deter strategic consumption of alcohol and related substances. There's a quota, there's a population that resented this move, and actually we know there are some cases about the court. But then again, we know Ngao officials play a very critical role in getting the community in this. Probably you want to mention some of your assessment on how the community is responding to these measures.
I think that by and large, not just in Homa Bay, but across the country, the Kenyan population is extremely supportive of these serious regulations, step towards regulating illicit alcohol and drugs. people are suffering. Families are losing their loved ones. Young people we are getting wasted at a very prime age. Some of whom are very educated. They would have been contributing to national development, thinking, research, and so forth. And so I have no doubt in my mind that the population support. In fact, to the contrary, it's the population who are frustrated when the law enforcement agencies don't take serious steps to enforce the regulations. And that's why I told you that we are insisting on multi-agency approach to make sure that this is done. And through Jukwaa la Usalama, we want to engage the wananchi to ensure that there is greater support, and particularly the chiefs and assistant chiefs and the OCSs work together so that they can be able to get rid of this menace. Last one. I think we are generally in good place because we have many of the forum. Alepias, you want to say something now that you are at home?
No, Waziri, I think we are looking forward to engage the people of Homa Bay at the Jukwaa la Usalama forums, but also most importantly, just to re-emphasize the fact that it's a World Identification Day, and there's a huge population, even in Homa Bay, of people who ordinarily should be having identification. And identification is not just the one you attain at age 18, even for those who are disabled, as well as the children. Not all children are being born in health facilities. Of course, the county government has done quite a bit to try and address that gap. Then maybe lastly is just the need for more collaboration between the leaders and the people so that we address some of the security concerns. There's already a lot of investment that the government is putting up in Homa Bay. There are roads that are being done. The airport is being done. There are beach landing sites being done. Quite a lot, electricity connection. And it will be good to, as we engage on the Jukwaa la Usalama, to hear where...
Well, that is the Jukwaa la Usalama that will be happening in Homa Bay County. If you're in that particular devolved unit, of that particular session that the Cabinet Secretary himself of Interior, Kipchumba Murkomen, will be spearheading alongside the various principal secretaries. You can see them, Dr. Raymond Omolo of the Interior, as well as Immigration, Dr. Belio Kipsang, a host of county government officials. While if you're just joining us, the CS was responding to various questions from the members of the Fourth Estate. He has talked about some of the defilement cases that have been witnessed in Homa Bay County, including banning of disco matanga in those particular areas. Also touching on the porous borders where conduits of drugs and other illicit goods are making their way into the country. Talking about the Coast Guards within the water bodies of this particular country, working in tandem with a multi-agency team set up by the Interior Ministry through the Office of the National Police Service to contain this particular issue. Also, the latest story, if you saw yesterday, a journalist operating under the Media Max was assaulted by unknown persons. The CS has just confirmed that the county official behind that particular attack will be taken in and, of course, asked questions, with the governor affirming that the governor will be taking action as well against that particular county official. Also, so he talked about gangs that are marauding in various parts of the country. He mentioned about Kisii, where the multi-agency team set up by the National Police Service have already identified those gangs who are assaulting and, of course, making life harder for the residents, not only in Kisii but in many parts of the country. Talking about also our very own topic that we're currently speaking here about when it comes to dealing with the menace of drugs and substance abuse. I want to give it to my panelists. Let me start with you first of all, Daniel. You've just heard from the CS talking about how porous our borders are. He talked about how illicit conduits are making their way into the country. Maybe in terms of the National Police Service, what is the experience, what is the report that you're getting on the ground, especially from those porous borders?
Thank you, Aziz. Indeed, we have porous borders, but I want to tell the Kenyans that these porous borders are actually well manned. We mostly rely on the intelligence in terms of managing these particular borders. because we are getting people who are coming from other countries. They are trafficking these particular drugs and substance. So we must collaborate with these other countries. We must collaborate locally, internationally, and then across the border. That's why recently you saw the National Police Service working closely with DEA, that is Drug Enforcement Administration. In July 2025 this year, they had a memorandum of understanding that they are fighting these menace together. So we are not working in isolation. Those borders, we are getting information also from other countries that borders us. And then, of course, we can trail these particular suspects and then, of course, get hold of them. Then also, I would also want to talk about the positive part of how we are dealing with the citizens. That is, as police, that the good image that we are dealing and how we are helping in terms of treatment as opposed to on terms of enforcing the law. You know, police, sometimes you may say they just want to see the law being done,
Yes.
only that law being applied. But also we have the soft part of us, the soft part of the police. That is, now we are collaborating with the schools across the country in terms of managing this menace of drug trafficking and availability of drugs in the schools. We believe in these schools, it is where you get a generation that has energy, that has potential to sustain the economic growth of this country. So we are very closely monitoring and focusing and collaborating with these schools in terms of making a secure environment for our generation, because we want to see the productivity of this generation. And also the parents are investing a lot in terms of taking their children to schools. So through the board of management, liaising with the regional quarters, we are carrying out screening, improved screening, using canines, using narcotics personnel to check whether the schools are consuming or they are taking these particular drugs. And also on top of that, we also give lectures to these particular schools on the effect of drugs and substance. We also train our officers and educate them to consider the aspect of cultural diversity when they are enforcing this particular aspect of facing the menace of drug. Because you'll find that certain communities behaving like this. So we are aware of these communities and we approach them differently from one community to another based on their diversity. We also carry out what we call community policing. And this is not just a community policing, it's a community policing that has a feedback. We give feedback, we hold regular meeting with these people at the community levels, at the regional levels, and then of course we give feedback. Then I must say also, building trust is not a one-day activity. So as police, as National Police Service, we are building trust day by day by interacting with the members of the public, and we are interacting well, and we are improving from one day to another. Then of course, we are also engaging the youth. You can see the energy that the youth have and educating them. We are also focusing on the legislative and advocacy.
Yes.
How are we focusing this? By considering the aspect of human rights. We don't violate the human rights when you're handling these cases. Whether we have arrested somebody who has some narcotics, psychotropic substance, we are alive to the procedures and consideration of human rights. Then also we promote those success stories of people who maybe have been in terms of taking drugs, narcotic substance. We interact with them and then we promote those success stories. We have also our officers who maybe take. Then of course we have counseling processes, and then of course we promote that success story to avoid or to show the public that it is doable. Then of course in the aspect of what my friend was asking about whether the information and whatever, we are accountable to different agencies as National Police Service. We are transparent in terms of doing our duties and professional in terms of doing our duties. Then I can say it is the only institution that is accountable to many departments. So you can't get it wrong.
Okay.
The police will also be there to do their work professionally. Thank you.
Let me go to Christine now. As you react to what the Cabinet Secretary was talking about, in terms of collaboration, you earlier stated that you were using even Jukwaa la Usalama to ensure that you reach out to not only the youth but to the people who have been affected. In terms of collaboration with not only the Interior Ministry, the leaders, is there goodwill, especially political leaders?
Thank you again. I will say yes. Right now we have a lot of goodwill from our fellow Kenyans, from our institution, the religious one, the faith-based organization, the NGOs, and every other body that feels that the Nakada community is going to the right trajectory. And the fact that our policy went through the National Parliament and it was passed, that is a reason enough to tell you that we have a very good political goodwill. Again, I will mention that being the leader of the multisectoral team, just as the CS was saying, and working with the Ngao community that cascades down to the down person from the village. And I can tell you that as we go around even the Jukwaa la Usalama, the communities, the people living around there are able to express themselves freely and are able to pinpoint what is their issue. Because I will tell you for free that the drug that is prevalent maybe in Nairobi is not the same drug that maybe is found in Nyeri, it's not the same drug that is found in Kajiado, it's not the same drug that is found in Narok. So when we go to the 47th county, we are able to say, okay, look here. In Nairobi, we have cannabis, for example. In Nyeri, maybe we have illicit. In Kisii, we have this one and we have this one. And that one informs our next programs. And being accountable and sometimes going to those National Assembly just to speak out and give out the research of what it entails, it now brings out the clear picture to our political leaders, to our religious, to our community members, to our village elders, to our partners and our stakeholders around the clock, just to say, look here, Nakada has this, and these are the results, these are the findings, and this is the remedy, and this is the strategy. And from there, we get their back, and we have the strength to move a step forward.
And Lawrence, I want to pose what Christine is raising in terms of the prevalence in urban centers, because according to the statistics by Nakada, you will see most of these drugs are being abused within the urban centers. Are we ignoring the rural areas?
Not really, because the urban centers definitely, we supposed to think or supposed to believe that's where the porosity is. But also now, even in the rural areas, these things are there. Because if you happen to go to just visit any corner of the country, you'll see very young people parading around maybe a pub or maybe a substance den very early in the morning. Like for example, where I come from, you can see like you get to see people from as early as 5 a.m. So as much as you are not very far from the city, because according to Nakada statistics, they say that heroin is being used, the prevalence is so much into the coast, and then now comes to Nairobi, and then after Nairobi is Kiambu. So Kiambu being number 3, I always call it 2.5, because Ruaka is almost, we are not very sure whether in Nairobi or whether in Kiambu. So it is really getting into the rural areas, and as the Reverend also said, there's children being used by the peddlers to peddle the substances. So it is not safe, as I would really like to put it that way. It's not only into the urban centers, but even in the rural areas, we are still having the same problems. And also, because of the decentralizations of the varsities, one thing maybe we forgot to say when we are talking about the 46% among the youths. It also came out loudly that 8.5% of the university students, it was said they are actually supposed to be in rehabilitation centers. Meaning they have come to a point of not only using, but they have already become chemically dependent. on the substances. And you have seen that you have got very many varsities in the rural areas. And the varsities being the target, you can see now the drugs menace is slowly slipping into, because you have got the TVETs, you've got the, the varsities all over the country. So rural areas are not spared. And as I also want to put, last year we had a health week in one of the TVETs, actually national polytechnics in the country. And I got a chance to be on the table as a volunteer during that National Prevention Week and Health Week in that facility. And you could really see many students have got no clue of what drugs they are using, but they really doesn't know the dangers of what it does to their lives. So yes, I would say it is really creeping slowly by slowly into the rural areas, and it's catching up with the urban areas.
Similar question to you, Reverend, in terms of the urban and the rural, but as you respond to what the CS was saying, how has the collaboration been with the religious community, especially with the Ministry of Interior, in dealing with this menace?
I can say collaboration is now getting better, and especially when the CS is escalating the fight to now Jukwaa la Usalama, where he is freely engaging with the local people on the ground, and he is listening to the concerns of the Raya right on the ground. Therefore, that means the government is really committed to engage the entire community right from the ground to the multi-agency approach, where we involve everybody on the ground, everybody who is in their spaces. So what I would say to add on that is that we need to understand as Kenyans, this is a manic. The president and even the CS has repeatedly said drug abuse, alcohol and drug abuse is a threat to the economy and peace and the security of our country. What is that telling you? Perhaps you may think there, because perhaps your child is small, all is not abusing. But at some point, it will still get you, because the one who is abusing, well, normally, those who abuse alcohol and drug and other drugs, or addict for that matter, are almost 100% criminals. They also engage in the crime. So it will get you there. This is not a matter of saying it is not for me. This case is not for me. This case is for everybody in this country. Allow me, Hasim, to also point something here. I touched a little bit on the policies that we launched as Nakanda or as national government the other day. Yes, people have been complaining and saying, okay, you have raised the age limit from 18 years to 21. If I ask you, Hasim, surely, a new Kenyan who is listening to us here, who is that youth who is 18 years and they are depending on themselves? Most of them, they are in the university, others in the colleges. In the US, even the age level of having a driving license is 16 years. But the age level where you are considered as an adult, you can take alcohol, is 21 years. Not only the US, other many countries. In fact, World Health Organization is almost coming up with an idea of making all countries of the world to get the age limit of where you can be allowed to take alcohol, of course controlled, at the age of 21. Because everyone, almost every youth who is 18 years is depending on their parent. They will have IDs, they will say they are adult, but they do not depend on themselves. Notice one thing, according to psychologists, at the age of 18, there is still a progress of mental development. But at the age of 21 years, the mental development is already fully grown. They are able to make informed decisions. Also, most of them are now getting their jobs. They rely on themselves. So they are able to make a good judgment. Again, on the areas of prevention, because the policy is speaking about prevention, is speaking about management, is speaking about control. When it comes to control, you realize that marketing has also been a big problem, where you find our youth are accessing alcohol. She has mentioned a very good thing. Parents out there, they don't know whenever they are having party and bringing in alcohol in their homes. And then when they drink alcohol, they begin misbehaving, including the parent, even the neighbors that have been invited. They begin to copy. They begin to see as though drinking alcohol at whatever age is okay, because they see their parent. So that's why we are saying this has to be stopped. In fact, we are even saying at some point we may begin even to mobilize our clergy out there in churches, also not to use wine in the table of the Lord. But it's
already ordained in the Bible, so why would you remove it?
The reason why we are saying that, because the one that was used in the Bible, even the one that Jesus used, was not alcoholic. That's because you would see people still engaging in very meaningful conversation. They were not drunk. But this one, we have even have priests who have become addicted because of that wine, because it is alcoholic. It has alcoholic content. We are slowly by slowly beginning conversation to also stop that one. I remember my son one day, because he was also in addiction, he told me that this thing of church wine, kindly please don't use it, because once you use it, I will not attend the church service that time. Why? Because it will begin speaking to me. You know. Yes. So we are saying, try to, as much as possible, avoid a way in which our youth will access alcohol or substance or any other drug. Even in, I find someone says, during rural time, it's like making it a norm when they bring Mulatina there. We are also saying that has to stop, because it is introducing even smaller children into alcoholism. Before you know it, the children, our children are becoming addicted. Who introduced them? Parent.
Is it that tradition then?
Its tradition grows. You know, early traditions, there were some norms that were there in the early days. They keep on changing, depending on how the way it is impacting, either positively or negatively, to the society. Now we have seen alcohol is impacting very negatively to our youth. It is making it very easy for our children to access. Let me also point out about...
Finally, because I want to pose it now to the...
Finally.
Yes.
Even alcohol that is sold in the supermarket, it is also a very easy way of our student pretending that they are going to buy some other things, but they are buying alcohol because it's sold in the supermarket. That's what we are saying in Nakanda, or in the recently announced policy, that marketing in the supermarket of alcohol has to stop, even online, because sometimes it is not controlled.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why we have that policy. Yes.
I want to break the mind of Daktari here, given that even some of the questions that are streaming in comments, people are saying there are people who are self-regulated. And secondly, we normally see the government every year increasing the taxes, especially on alcohol products that have come from other countries or we make them in our factories. Always they increase the taxes, but you see people going to buy them at the end of the day. And people who cannot afford will go for the cheaper stuff that the National Police Service every day are discarding. So in terms of self-regulation, is there something like that, self-regulation?
Yes, and that's a good question because this is something I address. When you look at traditionally, the African person, there used to be age-related activities, and alcohol was actually used by older people mostly, and especially when they get unwell or they are dealing with, like yes. they have worked. But we are seeing that now the youth are the ones who are using, meaning they are incapacitated and they are not able to work. So for me, I feel, and I know there is self-regulation, but we are addressing a situation where there is addiction. Mm-hmm. For a person who is self-regulated, that one we cannot like ask them to stop because they are able to manage. The same way even with food. We talk about sugar intake. There are some people who are able to take one teaspoon and you cannot question them. But there are people who take very many teaspoonfuls and it poses threat to their own health. That's the same thing. So we need to address the alcohol issue with the knowledge that it is legal. And it is being sold and the government has accepted that you can sell it. So what we need to do is to educate people on how a person can get addicted. Also to ensure that we have therapeutic spaces where people who are struggling can be identified before they get addicted. So for me, I feel like as much as we are asking the government, NACADA, and all that to do the job, I feel like we have responsibility in our own homes to ensure that our very own are taken care of. And that is why I said that within the home, we can be able to know that we have a person in our home who is not able to self-regulate. How do we behave to be able to address the need of this person? Are we going to be taking alcohol and telling that person, you can't self-regulate, so don't take? That family should be able to make a sacrifice where, in a family environment, alcohol is not included because you are addressing the need of this person. Because if we bring alcohol and we are serving them some tea or some juice, then it means they feel isolated already. They don't feel part of the family, and it makes them feel like, now I am disadvantaged. So for me, I feel self-regulation is there. And that is what we all need to do. Self-regulation in terms of eating, self-regulation in terms of shopping, self-regulation in terms of gaming and all the things that we enjoy to do. But when we know how you get towards addiction, then a person is able to know, I think I'm losing my control. So for me, I feel also, that's why I said we cannot dig the hole where we are planting. We need to educate people on self-regulation. We need to educate people on how to look out for each other, and we need to educate families on how to create a self-healing environment. Because majority of people who are addicted, because I've worked in a rehabilitation center when I was doing my internship, majority of them go back to their homes and say, my father, my wife, and all that kind of thing. So in the family system, that is where the problems are being created. So if we could create a family environment where people are healing each other, then it means the addicted person belongs to a family. What is that family doing? I feel I would have wished a situation where NACADA is there to wait for us as families to go and present people and say, what can you do to help me with this one? Because I feel like we leave it to NACADA to fight, to come to our families, look for the people addicted. We are hiding them. They are somewhere, they have fainted. You know, for me, I feel the family is where we can win this war, and then we can reach out for the organizations, the government organizations, to help us rehabilitate or even to help us know how to manage it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then given that we are finalizing our conversation, 30 seconds each at least to say your final remarks. Let's start with our inspector, your final remarks, and going forward, what would you like to see?
Thank you, thank you. My final remarks to the country and also to the youth of this country. There is a saying that which says, if you don't try, you don't get hooked. So in terms of drugs, let our youth not try to take these drugs. However bite or small they might be. Because yesterday I read a column that was authored by Dr. Catherine Siengo Mutisia yesterday in a newsletter. She was talking about the small kind of taking drinks. It is so problematic. It has some issues. It can ruin our health. So I won't urge the youth not to take even the smallest bite of the drinks. Then, of course, I must assure the country that we have very effective tools that we are using in terms of deterring, preventing, and investigating the crimes that are related to drug abuse and use of drugs. Specifically, we have dogs, police dogs, that are very effective. They are very effective because of their ability to be trained. They are trainable. Human beings who can take a lot of time to train them. But these dogs, they have that strong ability to be trained. Also, the olfactory receptor cells, compared to those of human beings, they are very strong. Then, of course, the aspect of portability. You can buy machines. Can you transfer this machine when you want to investigate these cases? But you can transfer the canines. And then, of course, the aspect of loyalty. Are they loyal? They are loyal to their masters. Human beings can take bribes. Human beings can take some other things. They can compromise. They can be compromised. But for the canines in 21st century, they are the way to go. And my brothers from Nakanda, we have incorporated them in that system. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Christine, quickly, 30 seconds.
Thank you so much. I will want to advise our stakeholders, our parents, my fellow Kenyans, that the best cure is prevention. Because if we prevent the problem before it comes in, it is easier for us to treat. Number two, in my remarks, is that addiction thrives in isolation. And I will want to talk to our youth and our young people in this country that even if you're overwhelmed, kindly do not isolate. Find someone you can speak to. Please manage your peers. Peers can be good, friends can be real, but also friends can put us into a ditch or a problem that we cannot get out of it. And even if addiction is curable, it is expensive, and it's not the way you will want you to go. Lastly, people know NACADA for the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse. But NACADA, on another hand, is a helping hand you never knew you needed in your darkest moment. These are people who are committed, and these are people who are not judgmental, they are not political, they are just real solution makers. Kindly visit us, talk to us. 1192 is our number. www.nakada.go is our website. And in case of anything, we are open, we are available, and for every Kenyan in this Kenya and everyone in this society, NACADA is available and we are open. We are willing to come to your doorstep and we are willing to give information. Thank you.
Lawrence?
Yes, thank you. I would really sensitize on this year's theme where we say that invest in prevention. For sure, prevention is the way to go. I would really like to urge parents and all the stakeholders to teach, and also the teachers to teach their kids and their children better ways of having fun, because children are really learning from their parents and their big brothers and sisters. And as she talked about teaching skills to these children, we really go a long way, because with the statistics starting at age of initiation at 6 years, going to universities, 8.5% are supposed to be in rehab. It's really kind of worrying. So my message is teach these children as early as possible and equip them with better skills and also better ways of having fun, so that they don't look on the other side of talking to drugs. And as I finish, someone said, talk to your kids about drugs, because if you don't, someone else will, only that they won't tell them about the bad side of the drugs.
Finally, Reverend, 30 seconds.
One day I was also an addict. I was smoking, and it had taken me to a level where I would not stop. Why? Because my father was a smoker. I watched him smoke right from the day I was small. Then, how did I stop? I gave my life to Jesus. He is a solution to all your problems, be it addiction, be it in whatever problem you are going through. You are surrender your life to Jesus. You can stop. I stopped it immediately, because Christ Jesus has power to empower you to stop whatever addiction you are going through. Parent there. I began smoking because my father was smoking. watch out what you are doing in the presence of your children, because they will eventually copy what you are doing. If you are doing good, they will do good. If you are doing bad, they will do bad. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Finally, Dr.
Okay, thank you. For me, I believe in empowerment, mental health training. I believe that every family should have a mental health champion or a person who is capable of understanding and recognizing somebody who is struggling. I believe in every organization we need a mental health champion. I believe in every institution we need a mental health champion, because when we do that, we can be able to recognize problems early and we can be able to help and we can be able to address them. I am a mental health champion trainer, and that is what I've been doing since 2020 during COVID. And I think I have seen a lot of good things happening when people are trained. When you know better, you do better.
Okay, thank you so much. Wise words there from Dr. Margaret Kagwe. She is a teacher, psychologist, and a researcher. Also on the set, we had the pleasure of hosting Dr. Reverend Frederick Ngugi, a board member at NACADA, also a religious leader in this country. We also have Lawrence Mungaim, a recovery coach, and next to Lawrence is Christine Koshal. She is the senior programs officer at NACADA. And then finally, the Chief Inspector Daniel Siago, deputy in charge of the National Police Service Canaan Academy. Thank you so much for making time for us on this vital discussion. The Jukwaa la Usalama will be continuing in Homa Bay County. As and when we get those particular details, we'll be sharing with you and other stories making headlines at this hour. But for now, I want to take you to my colleague, that is Sheila, who will be hosting in the next few minutes Kurunzi Mashinani, so you do not want to miss that. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Caroline Joroge. Good morning for now.